Welcome everybody. This talk is going to happen in English. I hope this is fine. If you have questions later on, please feel free also to ask in German. I welcome everybody here in the Festival Center and also in the digital sphere. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our hybrid talk. In the slang of North Germany, we call these talks usually Tanzschnack, which is really not to translate for me into English. This talk is happening under the roof of the new dance festival Tanzfusionen here in Greifswald. We are here in the festival center. We welcome very much our digital guests. I'm Elisabeth Mehring. I'm a journalist, dance critic, and here in the region, I'm working as a form of a dance office, which is called Fachstelle Tanz. And I'm moderating the talk together with Sabine Gehm, my colleague.
Yes, hello, welcome. We have this hybrid version is a little challenge because we have to switch a little bit between the screen and the camera and you here in the auditorium. I'm Sabine Gehm. I'm a festival director and part of the initiative Mecklenburg-Vorpommern tanzt an. This is an initiative based on the cooperation of the Dance Education and Creation Center Perform Dance in Stralsund and the residency venue Schloss Berlin and the three genre theater Vorpommern. At the moment, this initiative, as Elisabeth said already, is running a festival which takes place right now here in Greifswald. Yeah, welcome.
Sabine and me, we are moderating the talk, which try to explore the question, what role or what roles can the arts and especially dance play in times of war? And I also would like to add war and crisis. And I'm very happy to introduce our guests, our digital guests. We have here Viktor Ruban, choreographer, dancer, and curator from the Ukraine. Viktor, maybe you can say hello. Hello, welcome.
Hello, hello. Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, thank you for being here and to see you again. Larisa Venediktova, she's also from the Ukraine. Hello.
Hello.
Larisa, performer, director, and curator. And we have here Marianna Sadovska. Marianna, nice to see you. First time. She is a singer, composer, and actress also from the Ukraine. I think recently you worked in Cologne, so maybe you can tell us a little bit later about this. At my right side, Martin Stiefermann, choreographer from Germany, and also, like Sabine, co-directing the Mecklenburg-Vorpommern Tanzt an initiative. And actually, we would have here with us also Julia Asperska from Poland, an art producer and curator, but she's stuck in Rostock, and she just wrote me that she is there trying to help refugees from Ukraine. So she will be in Rostock for a couple of hours, I think, and then she will continue her way to Greifswald to see the rest of the festival. So welcome, everybody.
So what we said is perhaps to give a brief point of departure for this talk. This is what I would like to do briefly. Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine create an incredible suffering and huge refugee flows. From one day to the next, lots of people in the Ukraine became homeless and have to use weapons to defend their freedom and independence. This war breaks international law and seeks to permanently destroy our European peace order. It is an attempt to extend dictatorial rule, to push back democracy in Europe, and to deprive us of the right to live in peace, dignity, and self-determination. This war shows also how vulnerable our societies are, as old certainties are profoundly shaken, and our view of the future is fraught with uncertainty and fear. Like the whole world, we here in Western Europe are shocked. At the same time, we are depressed by the feeling of helplessness in the face of the dimension of this horror and the daily images from the war zones. This is why we asked ourselves here in Germany, just preparing the festival Tanzfusion, what can we do? Of course, the artists we are invited expresses their productions or through their productions artistic freedom. But beyond this, we were asking ourselves, what role can, should, must performing arts play in the situation of crisis and war? What impact does this situation on the performing arts and the dance in particular have? And very concretely, what can we do at the moment? This is why we got in touch with Viktor Ruban to prepare this talk. Together with our guests, we would like to explore these questions and topics we have developed more or less together. And of course, certainly we won't have enough time to really find answers on all this question and these topics. But what we think it would be good to have a first impulse and have a first view on the things, and to perhaps can see how we can get forward. As you noticed, the talk will be in English, and people following in Zoom can ask questions via the chat function.
And like Sabine said, we are taking the conversation more as an exchange of ideas, thoughts and ideas, and also experiences maybe, rather than trying to find solution. And I would like to ask the first questions to all of you, being in the Ukraine at the moment. Viktor, Larisa and Marianna, how are you? How is your current situation? Very simply, that you give us an impression about your daily life, your moment you are in. Maybe Viktor, you would like to start.
Okay. I just start immediately to think from what to start. What is my daily life? Because it's always, it's quite a ride in a way, because the situation is always shifting and changing, and things that are getting like normal for in one day, next day are getting like almost impossible in a way. To briefly introduce about my activities, mostly I'm my contribution and my help and my kind of preoccupation is related to communicating with my colleagues abroad and to help with translating the situation, provide information about the situation, giving interviews or setting up different events or gatherings or meetings, in order to have a better, not dialogue, but better understanding, because it's quite distant. I totally understand that countries that are more far away have even physical distance that allows easily to fall out of their following the situation in a way. At the same time, there is such a huge information walls set up by the Russian propaganda, by the Soviet heritage, and also the even Russia as a brand and Russian culture as a brand in a way. And also during the 20th century, there was quite a lot of work by culture field done to kind of effacer, erase and blur the lines about what is Ukrainian culture, what is Ukraine, like from one hand, and from another hand, there was quite a range of internal processes in Ukraine happening to make things also not so evident or not so articulated, not so clear, because we were dealing with colonization process, and we were also dealing with our self-identity processes taking place during the 20th century and even until now. So even for us, some processes are not super clear. And for my colleagues that are approaching and asking like, Viktor, what can you say about this or that event or situation? Or do you find it dangerous? Or like, what do you think about this reaction towards different informational special operations by Russian propaganda as well, and to help them to navigate into the quite complex things that we are dealing with the last 8 years very massively. I mean, the information war, but also to explain the historical backgrounds and context, historical context in relation to what's at stake, what is crucial, what is problematic, and so on and so on and so on. So this is more or less my everyday work, everyday kind of input. And a part of that, there is initiative Ukrainian Emergency Performing Arts Fund. And this is initiative that I established with my colleagues, that is fundraising initiative. And we are gathering funds to redistribute them to the local artists from independent scene of dance and theater, to provide them relief grants and to help them to cope in the situation. So from one hand, we are accepting applications from all over Ukraine from the independent artists. With coordinators together, we're checking out them and verifying them. And after fundraising and having amount of money that we received from our colleagues that express solidarity and contribute financially into our situation, we redistribute them to the artists that are staying in Ukraine, that are not refugees, but really staying in Ukraine. So this is because they are very much in a quite even more precarious situation than before. So that's this. And a part of that, we had a talk already with Sabine and with Elizabeth, and just to say that even being during the war, like we have air alerts, we have a lot of different challenges, and they are changing. But Ukraine is big, and the war situation in different parts of Ukraine is also different. So it doesn't mean that, like, for example, I'm in Kiev now. At this point, I'm not hiding all the time in the bomb shelter. I have possibility to go out on the street and to do things and to join other people. And I know also some theaters that are rehearsing, and I will be going today to Lviv to Larisa Theater, Marianna, just to say. And we will be making the restitution of the piece related to the war topic that we premiered 2 years ago. So we have time and possibility for creative work. We have possibility to communicate, but we are like doing 24/7, instantly being in the response towards the different needs, like refugees, like humanitarian aid, like buying ammunition, like helping with the evacuation or helping with the musification of the different parts, and like a lot of challenges. And me and colleagues around me are doing like huge amount of different and diverse work because the situation is so crucial and so critical with everything. So even if we feel more or less safe in some.
So we lost Viktor. Here, you are here again. We lost.
Yeah. Just to sum up, so it's a lot of challenges, it's a lot of different things, and it's very different from part to part of Ukraine. Oh, now I have air alert, but I'm in more or less protected place in my apartment.
This was happening, I think, in all talks we already had. You know, where are your
what to do,
zones in the apartment. Larisa, you're also in Kiev at the moment, is this right?
Yes, I am in Kiev, yeah.
How is your situation?
Actually, I just returned from Germany. I have been in Theater Treffen. I participated in performance installation Die Ruhe by Signe Kössler. And it was really strange experience because somehow it's two different planets. I mean, here in Ukraine and in Europe. And what else? I have some plans. I'm going to organize educational military centers in Ukraine just to help our people to learn guns, weapons. And I spent some time in March and April in territorial defense of Kiev. Yeah, it's and continuously I'm working as a volunteer. I'm helping our militaries with some stuff. Yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like a big change when you are coming to Berlin to see a Theatertreffen.
No, I participated in this festival actually.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, and I haven't been in Berlin. I have been in Hamburg. Yeah, because it's such play that yeah.
Marianna, you are also in Kiev at the moment, but
No. I'm not in Kiev. I'm actually now in Münster. And I am here, just finished rehearsal with Teatr Lesy, this is like independent theater from Lviv. So if I'm talking and you hear them talking, it's them, the director and the manager and actors. I can show you them. Teatr Lesy, they just arrived yesterday. And we rehearse a piece which we actually supposed to perform now in Ukraine, in Lviv, in Teatr Lesy, and also in Chernivtsi. And this is the piece based on poetry of Zelma Merbaum. It's kind of Ukrainian Anne Frank from Chernovitz. And actually it is a piece for male and female actor, which we have to redo with, because actor from Ukraine couldn't travel, so the actress is instead. And we will perform it tomorrow and after tomorrow in Münster. So that's what we do now. And I'm very happy that it was possible not to resign, but like to bring the piece to Germany instead, to bring it to Ukraine. And it's co-production between three theater, between free company, independent company Futur 3 from Cologne, which I am connected to, and Teatr Lesy from Ukraine and Neue Bühne Senftenberg in Germany. And I live actually in Germany, so I'm not in Ukraine since the war started. And what I'm doing since February 24, for me was very clear. For me was very and is very clear that first of all, what we need to do, we need to defend our country. And not only our country, we need to defend the freedom. So for me, supporting military, supporting defense is number one. So I basically was raising money from it started from all my friends, artists around the world, you know, like musicians and theater makers and writers. And we were raising money, and then we were buying things which nobody in Germany officially can buy. So, for example, there are a lot of foundations and a lot of people who are trying to help, and they are raising money and you know, to support refugees, to support children, to support many things, but no German foundation can buy bulletproof vests or helmet or radio sets or warm light sets. So that was what I was doing. And kind of, I must say, I'm very happy. I always say that I realized the real result of cultural diplomacy, because first of all, people with whom I was working on Ukrainian project and different projects, they were the first one who supported, and I raised alone more than 160,000 euro. And all this money are in Ukraine already in the front line. And I always say that it's crucial, and it's really, you know, so many artists and my friends are consciously not leaving Ukraine, staying in Ukraine, like you too, but also, you know, doing volunteering, but also going with the taking weapons into the hands and going to defend. So many friends, so many musicians, so many artists are doing it, that I really think we here in this safe European country, we need to do anything we can to help them to survive, to protect them, to help them to defend themselves. And this is, for me, absolute number one. And yes.
Thank you very much. What you call cultural diplomacy, we are going to talk about it a little bit later in the talk. I think that is a huge and very important topic.
Yeah.
Martin with us.
Yes, I mean, when we the idea when we talked about how to plan this panel together with Viktor, he proposed that, or wished that we also integrate not only Ukrainian artists but also artists from Germany, and we are very glad that Martin Stiefermann is here. He is choreographer and also politically engaged. So perhaps Martin, you can explain a little bit what your political aspect in your work is, or what are were the projects you were busy with.
Hello again. Maybe before this, for us artists, since this horrible war started, we think about how we can help and how we can help directly, and this affects also our work. We were very happy, Schloss Berlin, what I represent also here, was had the possibility to host directly Ukrainian artists, and a couple of them are still there. And with my company, MS Schrittmacher in Berlin, we discussed it a lot because we believe also in how we can help in a good way, in the right way, in directly, and not put anything first in a fond or in the moment, because this is a topic in our work in the last year, is working in countryside, and we started this year a project in Brandenburg, Oderbruch, and there a lot of people came from Ukraine because it's very close to the border of Poland, and we are in contact with them. We raised also money for the people because they are in families. They sometimes take long time until money comes there. And so this is like, it influences also our work. So it is in the work. Mm-hmm. Then to answer Sabine's question, because our company MS Schrittmacher work mainly cultural, political, social-political topics. And during this war, it comes up and up again. We made a long research a couple of years ago, how a war can look in 100 years. It was called Quo Vadis Bellum, so means where you go war. It was reflected 100 years back from the horrible First World War. And we made a lot of interviews with people, how they expect, what they think, how a war can look in 100 years. So we pushed it in 100 years, but we could know that so quickly in our area, in our cultural context, comes this war up. And I think often, and also this blog is also still online, it's called Quo Vadis Bellum, and there are, I think, 50 or 60 short interviews with people, what they think how a war can look like. And this is something influenced me in the moment a lot, thinking about. So this is a situation. We discussed it, researched it, and created also a piece. It was more an installation than a piece out of it. It was 2017.
Yeah, I think you're coming already to this aspect, and this is our main question. What role must arts play in this current situation? And Marianna, you described it already and hearing you, it sounds more that to create art is a bit is not, of course, not the main issue at the moment. That it is really more the practical situation, or as Viktor said, to inform the people about the situation. Is there other in which way does the situation influence at the moment your art in particular you're working on?
Is it a question to me or Larisa?
Yeah, perhaps Marianna, yes. As you are busy at the moment in Münster.
Yes, I almost feel guilty, you know, like it was very not easy to continue to perform while knowing that my friends in Ukraine cannot perform now or cannot rehearse now. But actually, long before the war started, I was involved in a project with the choreographer from Cologne, Stephanie Thiersch. We did performance based on subject of lamentations and expressions of grief, and also about our, in Western society, inability to express sorrow and grief. And when the war started, I was almost about to step out of the project and to break it, because I wasn't able mentally to rehearse. Like it seems to be impossible. And then Stephanie Thiersch encouraged me, and the company also was very supportive. So my way was to bring the subject of like what we are going through and what I am going through on the stage. And in the way it became, you know, like I used the poetry of Katerina Babkina, which she wrote in 2014 when the war started in Ukraine. And in the way it was for me, my artistic, at least attempt to, in my artistic work, still to do what I'm doing as an activist in the moment, to speak out, to shout out, to try to address the audience directly and try to remind that there will be no excuse for anybody who will tell, I don't know what to do. It's like, you know, it's like in the Second World War, there is no excuse for people who didn't resist. So it's very important for all of us now to resist. And each of us can find a way to do it. And so that's basically what I did. And a part of it, you know, I'm organizing concerts for musicians who are already here as a refugee, and performing myself. And my subject were, you know, some of my friends, theater people, musicians are telling me, wow, you were doing it since years, you were talking to us in words and in your music, like warning us since years, and we didn't hear, we didn't understand. So it seems like I don't have even to invent anything. I'm just doing my old program, and it sounds like you know, so incredible actual. But yes, and yeah, sorry.
What about you, Larisa?
Actually, I was thinking that it's completely impossible to perform, but I came to Germany, and I was just playing this performance installation. But I think it's because it's not new production. It's already exists, and it's more easy just to come back in time. And but yeah, I I cannot imagine to produce something now. And I think actually arts now have to be some kind of philosophy. I mean, their role could be in thinking, writing, speaking. The main topic of thinking, I think, it's how can we now rethink the past, our past, I mean, Soviet past. And it's for me, the reason of this war actually in this past. It's not about now. It's about our Soviet past. And this war is for me started actually more than 100 years ago. And all people in Soviet Union was just collaborators with this terrorist state, which now we see in huge size. Yeah.
I think the connection of what is happening at the moment to the past, the recent past, but also the past, which is really quite a long time ago. We will going to explore a little bit more and ask for more. I would like to ask Viktor first again about the creative process. And I mean, for me, it sounded really like it's shifting to communication on different levels, on philosophy, but also, I mean, really communicate with a lot of people what you told us about what you are currently doing. On the other hand, I wrote you via email that the day we emailed, there were the news that the opera house was opening again in Kiev. The first opera was held after the war started, and then that was kind of there is a particular very small good news, and then they said, but instead of 1,200 people, they let only 300 people in because of the wardrobe could function as a bomb shelter, and it was immediately like a hit. Okay, reality, this is a reality. But what does it mean for you? It's a very simple question, but that the fact that it should happen again, that art can happen again, like a gathering, what theater is also. I mean, theater is a place for assembly, it's a place for gathering. Does this play any role or not at the moment? Is that opening again in Kiev?
Just before answering, I just wanted to ask if Larisa, if you finished your thought, because I had the impression that you didn't.
No, it's okay.
Okay, just like about reopening, there are practical aspects of this, like really. For example, my space Kyiv Dance Residency is just next to this Scena 6. It's like it's side of the Devzhenko Center, and they don't have their own bomb shelter, so the closest bomb shelter is in subway. And the way for them, for the stage, it's on the 6th floor. So the way for the audience to go to the bomb shelter is not allowing them to perform, just because it will be too long. Like the distance is like 11 minutes or 12 minutes. And also for the performances, if it's a live performance and in between of the piece, theater or the dance piece, if you run to the bomb shelters, so maybe it's better. There is this idea of maybe performing in the subway, or performing like to transform the possibility to readapt the pieces, the performances to the places where they could be more secured. But I would rather continue also the point that Larisa said, that those obstacles that we were dealing with during COVID, it's one thing, and it was also about the restrictions and about distance and about the frames and so on. we were already kind of thinking how like the ways of representation of the pieces, yeah. And nowadays, it's not the question of possibility to perform. It's not the question of possibility to meet the audience, but it's it's more general. And in the words what Larisa said about that somehow artistic process should be considered more as a philosophy, is very practical. I mean, in a way of not responsibility, but in a way of not being blocked with the means of expression or with the modes of production. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Like, because we have unfold. It's not that much about how to like dance or theater piece that is performed on smaller stage or bigger stage or split into pieces or so on and so on and so on, but rather about maybe the same piece or same artistic intention could be performed using different medias. You know, like the digital aspects. Like, for example, even now we are having this hybrid format, and it could be also performative in a way. And also, for example, during this period, we had Larisa proposed to relaunch the micro university. It's like really very interesting project, and Larisa can say more about it if she will. But we were discussing among like with the colleagues here the text that is written by our colleague Mikhail Zyatin, and it's Ukrainian theorema. And I was really not missing, but I was thinking that this series of the meetings that we had discussing this text, exchanging our thoughts, finding the different points, has for me a huge artistic value. And not historical, not only as an archive, but it has a huge artistic value. Because it's something very fresh, very deep, and very much related to the not actuality, but to the world, to the way how humanity lives, to the way how the policy is treated, to the way how people think, how we coexist, and so on and so on and so on. Like, it's huge amount of layers and huge amount, and they are artistic because they are not our discussions. We're using metaphors, using the references, artistic references, you know, and other things that are already presented as a way in the lecture performances, for example, you know. So it's already, there are different things. And another thing that my letters with Mathilde Monnier, with a choreographer from France, she proposed me, she asked me to publish them in the local online magazine as something performative. And after this publication, we decided to make the voice recording of those letters, so it will be the radio play. And that's what, it's just like I'm drawing the line that if we don't put things into the boxes of like dance piece or theater piece, there are so many other opportunities to perform and to activate the essential senses together with the audience that could be a very deep point of connection with the reality. And for me, art is about that for the audience, like how to rethink, how to reconnect with the reality through this, not the universe, but through the space or through the thought or through something that is happening in real time. So maybe it's very, very, very big or wide, or I don't know, but that would be my answer.
Yeah, actually, it was pretty clear. What are your thoughts, Larisa? Would you say something about the micro university? Did I understand it right?
Me, you mean?
Yeah, Viktor was.
Yes, this project actually started in coronavirus times, and it was meetings online, and it was philosophical texts, mathematics, math, dance, actually, also online. And later it was also music and German language. Yeah, and now it's we have it in reduced, some kind of reducing view. Now we are only speaking about some text or some movies, documentary about Ukrainian independence times, or about actually Soviet story. And yeah, we are speaking, and yeah, I agree with Viktor. It's actually has artistic value, but what can it mean? It's I think now we have possibility to develop our thinking. This artistic value.
I think that there's one subject which was raised now several times from your side, is the influence of Soviet ideology on Ukrainian culture and appropriation. This is a subject which, yeah, I would say, particularly here in Germany, we were not aware so much about it, and we heard about it much more. But perhaps you could explain a little bit this further on.
Yes, I think Bolsheviks actually produced, in some sense, produced a new kind of human. It's a new communistic human, and yes, actually, this new human rapes Ukrainian children, and this new human bombing cities, completely destroyed Mariupol and partly other cities. And this new human, I think, also has his influence to Europe, as I see. From my discussions with colleagues in Germany, I understood that Germans actually wouldn't like to know about our huge concentration camp, which we had in Soviet Union, because Germans would like to see only their terrible past and their responsibility for this past. And somehow I see it as I see us as a concurrent for them. It's concurrent, yeah. It's some competition of adults. I think it's a problem that Europeans wouldn't like to see Ukraine, for example, as a subject, as winners in Cold War, and as something other than Russia, for example. Still, yes, and influence of Soviet to Ukraine. For example, story of Ukrainian independence. Yeah, in voting for this independence, it was also communists in Ukrainian parliament, and I think these Ukrainian communists are influencing these 30 years of Ukrainian independence. These years, Ukraine was without these thoughts about who we are, actually. Yes, and also Ukrainians don't think that they are also responsible for Soviet crimes, because Ukraine is one of the founders of Soviet Union. Of course, I can talk also about Russian influence. I mean, all these Russifications of Ukraine, and I think in this last 100 years, it wasn't Ukrainian culture. Actually, it was a Soviet culture with Russification of these Ukrainians. I don't know how to say, but some deep core of Ukrainian culture was Russified also.
Marianna.
Yeah.
If I may add, I agree in many things, but I would just add that it's not even started with the Soviets and with Bolsheviks. We have much deeper relationship with Russia, with imperialistic Russia. And it's interestingly enough that Putin is when he speaks about why he invaded Ukraine, he looks back to the Tsar, to the Russian Imperium. Mm-hmm. And I think this is also something which is very important for Europeans now, to really look at the history. And I agree with what Larisa say. It feels like people don't want very much to really open this book and see what Russian Imperium did to Ukraine, to Belarus, to Georgia, to Chechen, how Russian, and to understand how that what is going now, it's really genocide. It's really killing us as a nation, and I speak about political nation. It's killing everything which not reflect whatever it means Russian culture. Mm-hmm. Everything which is against, and also, but it's very important. One thing I would maybe be more precise. I would not say that there was no Ukrainian culture during Soviet time, but any attempt to create in Ukraine was physically killed. We have many waves of killings in 30s, sometimes for me it's very good to remember, especially here in Germany, that Hitler was not yet elected. He didn't yet came to the power in Germany. And in 1933, Stalin already killed millions of people, intellectuals, and millions of people during the artificial fame. So it's very good to suddenly realize what was happening. It's like basically the big machine of killing people was invented before Hitler, which we have to now really admit and look at it and understand deeply what's going on.
I totally agree that Germany sometimes, because you triggered this point, the Germans really have not a lot of awareness about this particular part of the history, but I would like to add that I read several analyses who were really emphasizing what you said, Marianna, the combination of Putin referring on one hand to the Soviet imperium, but also to the Tsaristic imperium before, and that this is a strange mixture and combination of which is then, really feeding this aggression and war. I would like to ask Viktor, because when we talked before, you were using the word de-Sovietization, which is I think also, I mean, part of this discussion now, and I would like to bring the discussion back to the arts. So what could art do, or how can you as an artist, or what do you as an artist and art makers, art workers mean with de-Sovietization, or what can art play a role? What kind of role can art play in this process of what you call de-Sovietization?
Before answering this, yeah, I understand. I would say that I was checking out one film, and you have this film in your Bundes archive, and it's called Der erste Friedensfeiertag des Weltkrieges. I could be not corrected.
Again, please, Viktor.
Maybe you can send the link in the chat.
I'm talking with you from the phone, but I will send maybe later as a follow-up, maybe to share it. But to translate it, it's the first peace agreement of the First World War, and it was signed by Ukrainian delegation, and it was 1 month before the Brest-Litov agreement, and this is something that is just erased from the narrative in a way, yeah. And it's about the historical memory, even if you have such evidences, you know, to go back to them. Behind me here on the visualization, there is a slide from my piece that we did. It's dance restitution of the Kiev period of Bronislava Nijinská as a choreographer, dancer. She's of Polish origins. She was huge part of the history of Russian seasons, Ballet Russe of Diaghilev. And it's already quite an example of cultural appropriation. It's not to say that Bronislava Nijinská, she is Ukrainian choreographer. No. It will be not correct from many senses. But it's just to say that when we started unfolding the history behind that, we discovered in her diaries, in her letters of her Kiev period, that 100 years ago, she had to leave Kiev because the Bolsheviks were taking over and coming to Kiev. So it was a matter of extinction. But the thing that once she managed to leave with Alexandra Ekster and some other artists, Vadim Meller and some other artists stayed in Ukraine. And they were part of the massive extinction that is called extincted Renaissance. And that's also the part of the story that is not very familiar. That from one hand, Russian culture in imperial time or in Soviet time was building up its brand. On another hand, it was a matter of extinction of those who were not willing to contribute to that brand or were giving a resistance and were preoccupied with enforcing their identity, like coming back to the Ukrainian identity. And this modernism, Ukrainian modernism of 20s and 30s was kind of prepared the ground for this шестидесятники, for another generation of artists that was also a lot of, how can I say, it was a matter of, again, of extinction or moderation or physical danger or just making people live in any possible way or die in a way. And coming back to your question of de-Sovietization, why I'm talking about Bronislava Nijinská and Soviet period, arts are not growing from nothing or from nowhere. The artistic work is coming from the context or from the idea and really references to the different parts of history or identity or practices. And in a way, gives not a new life, but new perspective in nowadays, in today, like rethinking or reactualizing some things. And in 2015, 2016, I got the proposal to start working on the piece together with colleagues. And it was the time after Maidan, at the beginning of the war that we are having. And I start asking myself, what would be the topic that I have to work on and to really concentrate and focus on that is related to myself, to my own challenge and my own challenge. And right immediately it was Homo Sovieticus as a part of identity. Homo Sovieticus, I mean like the Soviet creature, that is a Soviet mindset that we carry being born in Soviet Union and after it, yeah. And when I start to work on this topic, I realized immediately that the depth of this corruption of the culture, of the mindset, of the ethics, of the thinking, of the politics, of the state structures is so huge. This Soviet ideology and Soviet narrative and Soviet politics did such a fundamental corruption work that it demands the same approach as decolonization. Maybe you know about this decolonial turn. So that's how I start to say like that it's not decommunization, it's desovietization, because I really I think that this is more actual formulation, that the Sovietization process is something that cannot happen like that. It's the result of the work. And I can say that during all those years, we had one attempt with the team to work on this topic, and the team, when we start to work on it in 2017, the artistic team fell apart. That the depth of this topic is so huge and so challenging that team couldn't cope with the processes dealing with it. And then we were lacking.
Sorry, a question. Fall apart means because of different opinions about it, or why?
It was much more of the personal reactions towards the topic and the trigger points than artistic, like the possibility to go with a certain distance or with a certain possibility to kind of shift perspective and go in, go out, go in, and like really to construct the piece, to construct the, how can I say? It was like 80% of the trigger points and 20% of the possibility to deal with them in a way. And we put it on hold, not because of that, but because we were struggling with fundraising for this piece. And then when we were coming back to it, it was always shifting, and some of the team, of the new team, already said that, oh, it's not very interesting topic, or is it not that actual, and so on and so on. So it was rolling and rolling and rolling. And when I finally made a decision to kind of check, we applied this year to Ukrainian Cultural Foundation to do this piece on the Sovietization, already reshaping and so on. It will be not possible because Ukrainian Culture Fund gave their money to the, not to the defense, but just say like, we don't fight for the money for the culture projects for the moment. But the thing is that now I understand that maybe it's the time when I can finally, I can finally start working on this piece. That even this distance in 5 years gave me the possibility to kind of be more clear, even with the topic of the desovietization. It's so fundamental, it's so huge, it's such a big work that it really takes time and it takes effort to identify, to put the right questions, even to see the consequences. When we now discuss the Bucha terror, or when we discuss Mariupol, or when we discuss those parallels with the Red Terror, it already gives quite clear parallels. When we see the television in Russia, we can immediately identify what to be in the Orwell world, perverted world with the information games. Also, if we see the how you say it, not concentration camps, but even concentration camps, they are reactivated, reopened in Russia now. When we speak about filtration camps that many people from Mariupol passed through, and we have it as an evidence, you know, we already have the more of the things that were in our historical memory, but me, myself personally, didn't dare to watch there. So as an artist, only now I can kind of touch this topic for myself, because it's not possible not to touch. Because it's so important now, so actual now, that it's kind of, I don't know, like, but even that, I don't know if it's the time to start it now. I think that I would rather go back to this topic after we will win the war.
Was this subject already also aware in beforehand, or was it now much more? Yeah. Did you work already on it beforehand, or was it a subject also perhaps for Larisa and Marianna? Was it also a subject beforehand in your work?
Yes, actually, I'm working with a small group of people, which calls Tanz Laboratorium, and we started to work with this subject or topic in 2007, and it was dance production about Les Kurbas. It's Ukrainian director who was killed by Soviets in 1937, and yes, it was our first attempt to this topic, and the next one was in 2016, and it was also dance work with the name Dictatorship of Victims, and the base of this work was Soviet songs, because we realized that these Soviet songs was I don't know, we are somehow indoctrinated like by them, because they are actually very influencing. Yeah, and yeah, I think it only in our experience in our portfolio, it's only 2 works in this direction, but I'm talking about these topics actually many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all.
Is there a question from the audience here?
Yeah, but actually not to
Come
the.
over, because our mic is here. This is a microphone.
Where's the mic?
This is a mic.
This is my.
This
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to go out of the Zoom, out of
Genau.
the
Einfach
screen.
nur ein bisschen näher kommen, aber nicht
Ach
im
so.
Bild stehen.
Ah, okay.
Genau, so ist
Okay.
perfekt.
Yeah, thank you very much. I had a question actually not to Ukrainian artists, but to you, because I'm also coming from Ukraine, also doing art. I was also participating in the decolonization workshop from Larisa Venediktova, I think 2015 or something. And I remember this one particular moment when at this point I was, it's a long question, but I will come to this. I was
Wait a second. Maybe you want to
Come
join
here
us.
to us, then the
Yeah.
other people can see you
Genau.
also.
No,
Join
take a chair.
No, it's fine. It's just one question actually.
Okay.
So at this point, I was very interested in the idea and the effect of existence of the North Korea in our times. And I told to Larisa at this point, I would be very excited to go to North Korea. I would be really excited to see how people feel there, what's going on. And she asked me only one question, and it's something that stays for me through the years. She just said, why don't you just open the history of Soviet Union? Why don't you want to ask your parents how they lived in the Soviet Union? And I was at this point, I don't know, 20 years old or something. I was absolutely unaware of this whole kind of baggage of what was kind of also on my shoulders somehow that I was absolutely not aware of, even though I was actually growing up with it and I still have to deal with it.
even though I'm the second or even the third generation of the people who lived through Soviet Union. But my question would be to the choreographers in the context of the East Germany, because it's not a coincidence. We are in the Greifswald, you know, we are not so far from Nord Stream 2. Here, people used to learn Russian language. They still talk about it almost with a pride. Oh yeah, I know 2 Russian words and so on. So how do you, as a choreographers who work, unfortunately, I don't know if you work in this part of Germany or mostly in that, like how do you?
Now you have the 3 people coming from West Germany.
Okay.
No, I'm West Berlin.
West
Actually,
Berlin
with
is
roots in
different.
East Germany.
No, because for me to answer you, so because I grew up in West Germany, we had a lot of contact to East Germany, but so it influenced not my work. But directly after the change, I came to East Germany, and also like I'm running a project here. Also, I'm in a project. It's in former East Germany, and I do another one. And I still, after over 30 years, I feel this different. And for me, it's also to be in this house, in this theater. You feel this time. And for me, it's a little, because this house will be closed and renovated, and then it will, the whole week I'm here now, I think like, oh my God, this patina of the East German time will be gone. So, but I cannot say, maybe, I don't know, if somebody here.
Yeah, Silke is from here.
Yeah, maybe you can
us.
answer this question better even than me.
Ja.
Aber da musst du auch zu uns kommen, glaube ich.
Genau.
Silke, nimm den
aber,
Stuhl.
nicht, ja, aber das kann ich jetzt nicht in Englisch.
Nee, dann
Sag ich Deutsch, we help you.
Sorry, what is your name?
Marianna.
Marianna,
Oh,
thank you very
Marianna,
much.
thank you. Okay.
But,
Du kannst gerne Deutsch machen, Silke, dann wir helfen.
ja, aber nochmal ganz konkret, was war deine Frage? What was
Also, ja,
question?
also,
You say it in English again?
Nein, ich kann das
Yeah,
auch.
Now you have to speak to the mic.
Just a question. Just a question.
Ja,
Yeah.
Auf
Short.
Englisch oder auf Deutsch?
Wenn du Deutsch kannst, mach ruhig nochmal auf Deutsch.
Also ich hab gefragt, so was für euch, also wie neu ist dieses ganze Thema für die Tanz, also für die Künstler, die jetzt aus Ostdeutschland kommen oder in Ostdeutschland gearbeitet damals haben, jetzt noch arbeiten. Also wie neu dieses Thema ist, weil hier, das ist der einzige Teil von Deutschland, das wirklich von Sowjetunion beeinflusst wurde.
Yeah.
Also nochmal, weil du es in Englisch hast, du es wirklich sehr, sehr gut gesagt. Also wie du deine Eltern befragt hast, oder was ist das?
Also dieser ganze Kontext.
Ja, nee, also für Silke jetzt, um es beantworten zu können, also wie hat die Sowjetunion das beeinflusst? Ne? Und wie ist es uns heute bewusst?
Und auch in eurer Arbeit, in eurer künstlerischen Arbeit, ob das auch kommt, diese Sowjet-Vergangenheit sozusagen.
Ja, zwangsläufig, weil das ist Identität. Also ich bin groß geworden in der DDR und habe gerade sozusagen angefangen, künstlerisch zu arbeiten, als die Wende kam.
Darf ich bis hier übersetzen?
Ja.
So I help a little bit to translate for you. So Silke said for her it's identity. She grew up in the DDR, and when the change came, she just started to work artistically.
Ja, wo ist eigentlich die Kamera?
Da.
Ach da, genau. Und ich muss ein bisschen überlegen. Aber ich kann es vielleicht so beantworten, was mich jetzt umtreibt, was natürlich eben mit dieser Vergangenheit zu tun hat, ist das hat mit Flucht zu tun, mit Vergangenheit, weil mich hat jetzt immer mehr beschäftigt, dass meine Eltern, meine Großeltern vertrieben wurden, aus der Tschechei kamen, also was damals Schlesien war, aus Polen. Und das hat natürlich, wie soll ich das, also ja, also so,
jetzt muss ich erstmal wieder kurz übersetzen.
Ja, genau.
So,
Ja.
Und das wäre super, weil wir haben leider auch nicht mehr so
Ja,
viel
ich
Zeit.
versuch's, genau.
No, she said for her it's a big topic, the history, because also her family, her parents, grandparents had to escape from Czechoslovakia to here, Czechia.
Ja.
Check
Ja, ja.
to be right.
Und vielleicht nur mit meiner Arbeit kann ich so viel sagen, dass natürlich für mich spielt es immer eine Rolle, immer.
So in her work, it takes part all the time, this topic.
Ja.
From family, from Soviet Union, from GDR.
Ja, ja. Und vielleicht ganz aktuell kann ich sagen, ich arbeite, das ist ein Theater, mehr Theater als Tanz, aber ich arbeite gerade mit Kindern, Jugendlichen, Geflüchtete, nicht Geflüchtete, Greifswalder. Und unser Thema ist, wo komme ich her, wo will ich hin?
Okay, actually she works with people, refugees, and people from Greifswald, and so it's again a topic.
Yeah.
Danke. Yeah.
Silke, you can also stay with us, and Marianna also, because what I would like to know, is there something in the chat? No. Ah, no, okay. Because we are here on the panel now, we have two artists from Germany, one from West Germany, one from East Germany, and we have you from the Ukraine. And what I would really like to go to is the question, for example, I mean, what are your hopes or expectations? We're not yet really started the exchange, but I mean, we triggered some very important points. So maybe there are expectations or hopes or wishes to artists from Germany or West Europe, which you would like to address or discuss with us. So what could be a good starting point for more exchange or for more understanding? Is there anything you would like to emphasize?
It's a question for us?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I can say. Some years ago, actually, I had some ideas about exchange with German artists, and it was idea about exchange our past. We can just exchange with our past. I could do something about your past, both actually West and East. And you can do something about our past. And I think it's a good opportunity to learn, to know something about it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Maybe we can try to build up some connections for this project. Marianna.
Yes, I am thinking, because you speak about hope and about future and about art and about reality, and I have a feeling that, like last days, I have a feeling that it's not very easy to hold to hope, because it's every day harder and harder. You know, very personally, my brother is who never was a soldier at all. He's in the very front line. He was surrounded by Russian army with his battalion, and for many days we didn't have any contact. And thanks God, they were able to escape, but only because the Ukrainian army received support with heavy artillery. So they were able to use this artillery, and so that the young men, and you know, they were able to escape, and so he's alive. They have a lot of loss and in their battalion, but my brother is alive. And I just, one very concrete thing, I really pray and shout and scream to everyone here in Europe, please demand, especially in Germany, please let us push those politicians and Chancellor Scholz, and let's not only speak, let us give support with defense heavy weapons for Ukraine. Otherwise, there will be no artists to make art with, because they will be again all killed, you know. So this is my big plea and appel and demand. But I still have hope, and I'm very much holding into different artists and intellectuals who stays in Ukraine, like Viktor, like Larisa, and who are planning, dreaming future after this victory and after the war. It's very important. It's like, and there is really strong dreaming, planning process going on, which is so amazing. And I really hold into it. And I think, you know, Larisa, it's beautiful. I think it's very important to plan project when different people from different contexts and countries and culture can work around certain subject. I think the Volodymyr Sheiko, the director of Ukrainian Institute, he told that this is the only vision of cultural, you know, development. It's not to show each other projects, but it really work together on different subjects. That's where deep exchange is possible. And that's why, for me, the project we are doing now is together with you know, Neue Bühne Senftenberg and Theater Lessi, and there were 3 projects where the artists from Germany and Ukraine were diving into different subjects, like where we are from, and war and past, but also future. So if we will help the artists in Ukraine to survive, then I really hope there such collaborations will be possible. And
I have only remark. I am not planning the project. Actually, I just answer what ideas could be, and I had this idea many years ago. No, I'm not planning some projects now.
Yes,
I plan to buy weapon.
Yes, I know, but like planning, dreaming, visions. Yes, I know. Visionary. But first of all, weapon. I mean, come on, we are artists, yes, but that's what please hear us. We need now weapons to defend, to survive. That's it. And then we will do some other stuff.
Marianna, I totally agree. Maybe you probably know that we have a big discussion and debate in Germany at the moment. We had an open letter to Chancellor Scholz that please be careful with delivering weapons to the Ukraine. And then there was this other open letter. And for me, and I think for a lot of people, it's quite clear that we only have the 2 options, even war or Holocaust again. And this is, yeah. So I totally agree, and I see your point, and I absolutely know what you mean. You drive me to tears.
Thank you.
Viktor.
Just to add and like to continue this line, I would share with you my insight. I shared it already also with Larisa during Micro University that before February, in all those 8 years, I had only once a visit to Severodonetsk, and Severodonetsk, it's the east part, and it's a Lugansk region. And it's like after Lugansk region was occupied partly, it was like the another center of the region during this time, while Lugansk is occupied. And so for me, it was the only meeting with this danger zone in a way. When started 24th February, and after 1 month in the surrounding and the divergence groups and the rocket hitting Kiev and like really physical danger, it was the moment when I realized that, oh, that's what was happening all those 8 years there. And the thing that my insight was that if I was not that distant and keeping this safe distance for myself during those 8 years, and if I had dared to go to the east, I would be better prepared. Like that was my insight, and why I'm saying this now is to say that okay, we have war game and theater of war in Ukraine. We have economic sanctions. We have the different political waves and geopolitical shifts all over the world. Yes, but there is still, for the rest of the Europe beyond Ukrainian border, illusion that it's far away. And actually, there is still this kind of perception that we are in the safe zone, and that the not safe zone is there. And why I'm saying this in relation to the dialogue and continuation, because I think that now, of course, compassion and help to the refugees and really sharing a sensible and sensing our pain is very important and very helpful. We need that as well. But I think that it's much healthier dialogue and communication would be if you will see that the stories of Ukrainian people is a very important experience that has the concentrate to be ready to the forthcoming events. When the Putin declared his will in December of 2021, he declared that his line of ambition is much further than Ukraine, beyond NATO countries, and his appetite is very long run. And it's not to say that to threat and to say that like this line that he drew is in danger, but to say that we are now in the completely different world where interconnection and the climate not a climate zone, but climate as ecology of the countries, of economies, of the politics, of the senses, of the knowledge, those systems are in such an interrelation that even physical movement towards from Ukraine to further is dangerous for the whole system. And when we are defending in Ukraine with our lives, our sovereignty, we are really a front line of the values of the it's really we are kind of fighting for this world not to fall back into the middle age in a way, and to be in the comfort zone and to step out from the dangerous or like tricky topics is a miss is something that kind of pill of the painkiller when you have to deal with the health issues. Like the painkiller won't take away the illness. It won't help the body to survive. You have to kind of face that, oh, this is sick. this is something sick, you know. So to what I'm leading this all is just to say that I totally agree with exchanging the past, but I also would say that for culture managers, for culture actors, for the people that have enough courage and have enough power to say, like, I really want to meet this context right now, going to Lviv, going to Lutsk, going to Zhytomyr, even to more safe regions, would give you already real experience that you will anyway need to feel more connected with the reality, because the comfort and the prosperity is a great thing, but it's something that doesn't help you to be resistant towards challenges of life. And to face this is a huge opportunity for the artists to come collaborate, not only to receive refugees, but also to come to visit, even with the short-term visit. And I don't know, like for the exchange, finding the possibility is the matter of articulation and thinking together, but don't hesitate. If you will have such idea, don't hesitate to contact to help with organizing that. But also just think about that as opportunity.
Viktor, you said that already artists from Lithuania are coming.
Yeah. they are still preparing the group of the artists. They wrote to me that they want to come and to support with in a way with their presence. And also they are really, it's a unique opportunity also to see the situation when it is very much alive and very much not moderated, not framed, like really like the press, like press is coming, they're having the press tours, they bring the stories and they bring the images of war to their newspapers, yes, or the magazines or online things. But it's not only for journalists, but it's for the artists, it's even better, because bringing the experience back to your country, you are becoming also translator of the situation, and also somebody who can see what's problematic in your own zone.
Can I just add, because I'm very surprised that you, Viktor, proposed something like that. It's like, you're very brave. I think I would not invite people now, like, you know, I will be scared. But I just suddenly realized, because when the war started in 2014, I was the one with group of artists. It was mostly theater people from Lviv, from Les Kurba theater, but also musicians and also a lot of poetry writers and like our famous, like Andrei Kurkov or Serhiy Zhadan. We went many times to the war zone, and we were performing there and doing workshops with the children there. And when you speak, Viktor, I just realized that I remember that it was for me, for the first time, really to experience physically what art means and what art can do. Because reading poetry in Volnovacha or Mariupol or in Severodonetsk, singing for people there, you could really feel that, like, physicality of art, you know? I mean, you from the dance world, it's even probably more. It's like you could feel how, like, I never experienced such intense connection and such intense level with the audience, like being there. And also like this, I'm not afraid of this word, healing power of art. So, and then, yes, and then after this, for example, I was able to create the whole mono piece based on meeting with people and what I heard, what I experienced. So I just want to encourage, because it demands certain braveness and certain readiness, but it also gives incredible, it's like incredible, it gives you a lot of power and a lot of deep understanding who we are and where we are going.
And I can add that now I realize that we have a project of documentary theater in which actually everybody are participants. And I invite you to participate in this kind of theater here in Kyiv, for example, or or in Bucha. I think it would be a good idea to make this project in Bucha. Yeah, actually, I joined Viktor's invitation.
Yeah. And it's not only just like desire. I have partners that are doing logistic for the musification process of the events, and that are helping military people as well. So they have all means to, for the security reasons, to help provide the maximum security for the people coming. Oh, again, air alert. It's a beautiful day. It's the second in hour and a half. Yeah,
Oh.
But even though, you know, like we know protocols of security, we know the way of safety, for safety reasons, how to allocate, how to accommodate, and how to, like, to which places to go and with whom, with escorting from military people or not, with ammunition or without. So like this, we can arrange this kind of things. So if you have such intention,
I have
come.
to say, thank you very much. I'm really I'm really moved, and I think everybody in the room is
too.
really moved.
Yeah.
And Victor, I never thought about it. I will be moderating a talk, which is, in the end, somebody would say, we know everything about how to keep you safe when you are coming. So this is, I mean, really incredible. And Marianna, also, I mean, what you said was for me a very strong pamphlet and how is it? Wie sagt man dazu? Plädoyer or manifestation of the braveness, and also the because the starting point was a question what roles art can play in this situation, and you absolutely brought it to the point and put it in a nutshell what arts can be. So I would like to thank you very much and very warmly and deeply. And I would also like to take it as a starting point, even if we are finishing right now and going back to what we have to do right now. I would, yeah, this is more a starting point for a future exchange, for a visit in Kiev, for sure.
And to intensify really the dialogue and the exchange, I think, yeah. This was
also for me as an artist, really thank you very, very much. And I would also love to see it as a starting point, you know, not that it stays in words. So I'm a person, go to practice, so many ideas and so many great words. So let's stay in contact and let's continue with something.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, so we're sending all our best energy to you.
To you.
And,
Ukraine is resisting.
So hold with us.
yes, we are with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you very
See
soon.
you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stay healthy and good.
Letzten Sekunde kommst du.
Oh, yes.